And a good Monday evening coming up in the next 30 minutes. We're headed to the track. We're going to go down to the LBR and check out who is indeed the strongest man. And Terry Hunter drops by as the baseball season is just around the corner. So we hope you stick around. And a good Monday evening. Welcome into Time Out here on TVNB. Great to have you along for the next 30 minutes. Jim Hennessy flying solo for the first half of the show anyway. We certainly hope all the moms had a great Mother's Day out there. And to my mother, happy Mother's Day, Mom. Sorry I didn't get down to see you yesterday. Anyway, we roll along with the program. First off, we have to chat about the NHL and where we are heading into the quest for Lord Stanley's Holy Grail. Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals are now underway. New Jersey with a huge win at the Fleet Center yesterday afternoon. They beat the Flyers handily 4-1. Martin Brodeur was F-I-N-E fined between the pipes for New Jersey, so they lead that best-of-7 one-game tonight. And tonight, Dallas will play host to Colorado. Colorado, what a showing by Patrick Roy over the weekend. He made some huge saves as Colorado beat Dallas 2-0, and they lead that best-of-7 one-game tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see how things progress heading down the stretch. A lot of people predicted that they were going to be long series. New Jersey and Philadelphia was going to go at least 6 or 7 games, but the way New Jersey handled Philadelphia when they got a hold of that lead, boys, it looks like that could be a very quick series. We flip the page from hockey to harness racing, and a new segment here on Time Out here on TVNB. Ingham Palmer and Scott Waddell give us the rundown on what took place at EPR on Saturday.
Well, thank you, Jim, and Gordy Hennessy. Good to have you with us on the show, and congratulations for a good afternoon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ingham. I'm glad to be with you this afternoon, and yes, I did have a good afternoon. I was quite lucky. I had to draw on the rail with a few horses today, which helps, and the horses all raced well. I had a little luck on my side today, too.
I noticed a couple of trips you get through on the inside with the DG's Intrepid in the last stages, and the last race with Jags Desperado getting through on the inside.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioned earlier, that I had a little luck there. The rail opened up both trips today. Both horses are just freshly starting back, and I didn't want to rough them up too much, and the rail opened up for me, and they found daylight, and away they went.
It's a wicked trip for Jags Desperado, winning the feature in 2-1 and 2, almost to his record.
Yes, it was a major upset. That horse last year was a tough little colt. He raced well for Ricky last year and Lonnie, and I just was lucky enough to get a drive on him today. There he had the rail and got away really good. That means a lot, like, you know, got away in the 2-hole, and Jill did most of the work, and I just followed along.
In that race, R.V. Gladimer suffering his first defeat in 6 starts. He had a rough trip.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. The draw means a lot. Like, you know, that horse has been drawn in the middle of the gate all along, like, and he can leave a lot of gate speed, but I think I fooled a lot of them there. They didn't think this horse could leave any, and that's what kind of threw everybody off. They all left out of there, and then I had everybody out on the branch, so to speak, so that's what set up the whole race, I guess. I knew if I could be handy the front. Ricky said the horse trained really well last week, that, you know, he'd give them a run, and he did, I guess.
First start, knocking out the top pass, quite an accomplishment for him. We're not racing next week, Saturday, but we're racing the following week, the Atlantic Sire Stakes. Do you get anything for that?
No, I don't commit to the Sire Stakes anymore. I got a full-time job there now, and this is more or less for a hobby for me now. That's why you don't see me around much in the wintertime. I don't want to be freezing there. Let the boys do that all winter, and then I come around in the summer.
Yeah, we gave you a little shot in the air on our Sunday morning talk show last week about Gordy coming out with the good weather.
Yeah, that's about it. I don't know. I'd love to be here racing all winter. I always did it as a living, and Moncton, when the track closed down there, I was forced to get a real job, and that's what I'm doing now, and I got to stick with that. Like, you know, I got to race in second right now.
Of course, we're hoping here for some government help for the funding of the Atlantic Sire Stakes. You got your hopes up, or what?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We can't survive without the Sire Stakes program, and it's our #1 draw, like, you know, and right now a lot of the colts are going on, racing for big money, and selling for a lot of money, too. If we lose that program, we're done. We need the Atlantic Sires program, and I hope that the province comes up big for us, because we need them.
Certainly do. And we've got quite a colt in that Mr. Ralston, Bobby Kraft's or Teresa Taylor's colt. made a break leaving in the top class. You didn't see that, but he lost a lot of ground and rallied to get third.
Yeah, that's one of the fastest colts I've seen in a long time. Last year in the Dairy Queen there, the horse didn't show up, but he was sick all that week, and Bobby had raced him. Like, the horse was better by the end of the week, but you know what I mean? He couldn't get the right training into him and everything. That horse probably would have won that race last year for him, and I'm hoping for Bobby this year. Bobby's a good guy, and he's always playing around with young horses and that, and has good luck with them.
All right, Gordy, thanks very much. Nice to have you with us, and we'll see you again soon. Scott Waddell is going to tell us how this one happened, review the races, and give us the winners.
Thank you very much, Ingham, and we'll take a look at this past Saturday's program. Started off, Ingham just had a chance to talk to Gordy Hennessy, who had a great day. Started off the day a winning one with Alaskan Thomasina in 2:06-1. Our second race of the afternoon went to Chat Room and Mike Campbell. This fella, a 3-year-old, talked about the Sire Stakes with Ingham and Gordy not too long ago, and that's coming up in a couple of weeks at Exhibition Park, so you'll probably see Chat Room. He's a great-looking 3-year-old out of the Mike Campbell stable. Race number 3 went to Rembrandt Blue Chip. Steve Mason back up this week, winning in a time of 2:01-3. Our fourth race went to Winnie Down. Steve Mason back again from the stable, winning in 2:04-2. Race number 5, Gordy back again, his second win of the day, winning with DG's Intrepid in a time of 2:04. Then in race number 6, No Joke, another great-looking 3-year-old. Probably see him in a couple weeks as well. Mike Campbell back again. No Joke, winning in 2:02. He came his last half in that one in 59-1. Race number 7 went to Burton Knight, yet another good-looking 3-year-old, 2:01-2, a new record for him. Then in race number 8, the 3-year-old Hannah O'Neill, back for her first start this year for catch driver Tony Watson, winning in 2:02. Then race 9, LFN for Todd Treitz, winning over a half in 4-1 and 2:04-1. That was the Mother's Day pace on Saturday afternoon. And then our 10th and final of the day went to Jags Desperado, completing a driving triple for Gordy on the afternoon in 2:01-2, and that equaled the best time of the day.
Amazing how that colt, Gordy got that colt through on the inside. Jill's horse, St. Elmo, drifting out. That's racing luck sometimes. You find that hole when you don't expect it. But Mr. Ralston, boy, was he a whiz kid. Made that break leaving. And did you see him rally for third?
Oh, yeah, and he wasn't beat too much either in him for second. And he's a great-looking 3-year-old out of the Bob Kraft stable, and I'm sure hopefully we'll see him in a couple of weeks here.
Okay, next Saturday we're not racing. We're taking that day off to give some of our horses a chance to go up to Frederick to help them get their card open. They'll be racing on Victoria Day, an afternoon card at Frederick, and we're back on the 27th, and we're hosting, without government support so far, the Atlantic Sire Stakes for 3-year-old pacing colts, and that should be a bang-up day.
Oh, it should be a great day, and we just announced quite a few winners in the afternoon. There's some great 3-year-olds. Mike Campbell's got a couple nice ones, No Joke, and also the other one that he won with this afternoon as well. So, and then you've got Bert Tonight, that other nice colt from Fredericton. So we've got some really nice colts here in New Brunswick, so hopefully the New Brunswick government will come through. And
they are New Brunswick bred colts.
Yes, they are. They certainly are.
All right, we keep the fingers crossed for funding from Mr. Lord and Mr. Betts. And still get a kick out of what Dave McLean said, some of the names for horses.
No more bets.
How about have your bets spayed? Okay, we're back next week. Hingham, Palmer, Scott Waddell from Exhibition Park.
Ingham, thank you very much. Scott, thank you very much. We always appreciate the effort and the work that you put into giving us a recap from the races over the weekend. And like Ingham had mentioned, there is no racing next weekend due to the Victoria Day holiday weekend, but there will be a report from Ingham Palmer about the upcoming races for the Sire Stakes. And like Ingham said, we certainly wish them all the best with the provincial government trying to get some money. The strongman competition was held at the LBR over the weekend, and I got to tell you, if you didn't get down to see these guys, I work for the radio station, as most of you know, and we had a couple of these gentlemen in as last week, and they were just huge, unbelievable sized men, and they can really do some amazing things in these competitions. Dan Noel had a chance to take the TVNB cameras down to the LBR on the weekend, and here's what he got for us.
The New Brunswick Strongman Competition. Strongmen from all over the province have come to earn bragging rights and a cash prize. It should be a very interesting event, as endurance plays as much a key part as strength. Keith, right now it's looking like second place. These guys are from all over the province. You're from just outside St. John area, from the St. John area yourself. How's it feel to come into a situation like this and come out in second place?
It's pretty neat, actually. I always seen it on TV and I wanted to try it, so I figured I'll give it a whirl. I was actually kind of intimidated coming in because you don't know what you're getting into. But I said I might as well try it because if I don't do it now, I'll probably regret it later. So I figured it'd be fun. So I did well. I come in second, so I'm quite pleased with it.
Is this the first time that you've entered something like this?
First time for something this type. I've competed in bodybuilding contests. A few good placings there. Placed first and second in lightweight bodybuilding contest in Moncton, and last year I placed second overall in my weight class for Atlantics. So
how did you go about training for something like this?
Pretty much I train heavy all in the gym all year round. I know I kind of call it stupid heavy. It's something me and my friend always did. Greg Richard, just a pretty good friend of mine, and he taught me to train this way. So we always moved heavyweight.
So if the event comes around next year, are you planning on?
Oh, definitely. The great competitors here. We cheered each other on, and helped each other as much as possible. There was no, disgruntled against anybody. We never single one person out. Oh, he's winning. Give him a hard time. It was help everyone, give them tips and what we think they should do. I helped as many people as I could, even if he was going to beat me, because it was a strongman contest. Not, the technique thing was pure strength. I was looking at. If he was stronger, then he wins.
Exactly. That's one of the things I was going to mention from watching the competition myself. I noticed that brute strength is one thing, but some of these events were endurance, and endurance is a key.
Yes, definitely. You have to have wind and strength to go with it. I just drove her. There was a task, and I did it. I didn't really consider it. There was a line, and I had to cross it to finish the event as fast as I could.
What about anybody, maybe some younger people out there right now starting bodybuilding or so on and so forth? Do you have any advice for them? Or?
Eat lots. Eat anything. Just eat it. And once you get farther in with your weight up, then you can watch what you eat. But as for now, I tell everyone just eat. The size is key in powerlifting and bodybuilding. And once you get a good foundation, you start tuning it up and getting lean, and you look like the bodybuilder.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you. Amazing lift. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for approximately 10 years now. I've been doing most of my lifting in the state of Maine. I just recently moved back to New Brunswick about 2 years ago and been still competing in the States. The first time I've ever competed in Canada was in November of 1999 at the World Championships in Calgary. And gave me an eye-opening to see what my level was in Canada. And as I went to the Canadians, I set all the Canadian records. And for the squat, the bench, and the total. The deadlift is done by a friend of mine out in Calgary, and rightfully so. It's a growing sport, so you can't win them all. But what I've tried is actually try to be successful in spreading the sport into New Brunswick, because we have no federation, and it's slowly starting to grow.
What made you ever decide to get into this in the first place?
I trained in a gym in Maine, again in Waterville, Maine. I was around a bunch of older strongmen. Most of the people I learned under were big, heavy-set men that were once powerful strongmen in the early 80s and late 70s. And they walked me through it. They found I had some genetic movements in the squat and in the bench press. And through their trial and error in their lives, passed on their knowledge to me. And I so much grew from that, and then I learned from their mistakes and my mistakes, and I learned fast. You only get hurt once before you don't want to do it again.
Keith did pretty good here today. He came in second place, and considering that these athletes were from all over the province, that's a very good standing. There's another competition coming up in PEI in July. Keith says he might go, and although the standings here have no bearing on that competition, it is a good training ground. For Time Out, I'm Dan Noel.
Dan, thank you very much. Did you see the size of that Allen guy? Man, he is a house. Quite a competition down at the LBR. We certainly hope that it returns next year, because I know a lot of people that I talked to said they had a fantastic time. So to Norm Ganong and everyone who put on the competition at the LBR over the weekend, kudos, boys. Nice job. Well done. And we certainly hope to see you back again next year. Second half of Time Out is coming up. We're going to talk some baseball. General Manager of the St. John Senior Alpines, Terry Hunter, joins us. So we hope you come back and join us as well.
Check out TVNB online for in-depth profiles of your favorite shows, what's on and when. Post and view announcements using the easy-to-follow Message Express. www.tvnb.shaw.ca. Go ahead, push our buttons.
And welcome back into the second half of time out here on TVNB. Jim Hennessy sitting alongside Terry Hunter, the general manager of the St. John Senior Alpines. I'm not going to whack him over the head with the baseball bat here, folks. We're just getting ready to talk some baseball. Terry, I guess the obvious question is, how are things coming along in preparation for the upcoming season?
Well, they're starting to come. The last few days, actually, Jim, things have moved together quite nicely. We've got a couple of fellows out with us that we were hoping to come out and now have committed to us. And some of the fellows that are away at school in the States are arriving. Mike King came home last week, and Tommy Van Wort's expected home the next day or two. And the big news for us was on Friday. We got an email from Scotty Martin saying that he is going to be home this summer. So that is great news.
And Scotty having a great season down in the collegiate level, just playing some outstanding baseball.
Yeah, he has. His arm problems seem to have improved, and he has, you're right, he's had a great year so far.
What kind of a lineup? I mean, obviously you always expect to contend, which the team always does. They're right there in the hunt, headed right down to the final week. But obviously the championship is the obvious goal, but realistically, what are you looking at for the season? Well,
again, with the guys that have committed to us in the last few days, we're going to be much more competitive than we had hoped. Realistically, Fredericton is going to be very strong this year. They're the defending champions. They're going to the Nationals in Windsor in August, and they've loaded up. They have guys coming back like Kurt Allen, who hasn't played with them for a couple of years, and McCarty is supposedly going to play with them as well. So they're going to be tough. And the Island team will be very, very competitive this year because they have the best of both worlds over there. They've combined the two teams, and they'll be strong.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Of course, Prince Edward Island had two teams in the league last year. This year, they've amalgamated and become one. So, like you said, that's going to make them that much more tougher. What was the problem? Financial reason over there?
I think a whole bunch of things. I mean, with the Island, you know, it's a small community, and some people don't like to play for other people, but it's effectively a new organization. They're going to be based in Summerside, and they'll play their games there. It's a nice field, and I think it became a little bit too onerous for a few people to operate two teams, so they've combined them, and it's going to make it a lot easier, and it'll make them very much more competitive on the field.
Absolutely. Speaking of fields, let's jump over to the home base Memorial Field. It's been raining for the last 3 weeks. Haven't had much of a chance to practice, I don't imagine, over at the field, but the times that you have, I mean, how soggy is it over there, and is it going to be ready for opening day?
Oh yeah, I'm sure the city will have it ready. Actually, nobody's allowed on Memorial Field yet. Typically each year they open the field 2 or 3 days before the long weekend. There's a lot of work to be done there because over the winter a new automated sprinkler system was put in as part of the upgrade. So that's great, and they have to put the netting up and so on. So I'm sure the crews will be over there all week and getting it ready, so we're not too concerned about that.
Crowds are always a concern when it comes to baseball here in the city. For whatever reason, it has gone through a bit of a lull over the past couple of years. What would you say is the problem with getting people over to the ballpark to catch some ball?
Well, there's any number of reasons. I mean, people are busy doing other things. They complain that the field's too cold, but I think that thing you got in your hand is going to make a big difference.
Right there, baby. Let's take a look at this. Let's zoom in on this just for a second. There are some rule changes, and one of them this year to senior baseball is they are going back to the wooden bats. And if we can just get you to zoom in on the lead part of the bat here, right at the head. That is one amazing bat. And it's going to be nice to have the wooden, because it gives you almost that back to basics feel when you talk about wooden bats. How are the players adapting to it? Do they like the idea, or are they just kind of hanging on to that aluminum feel that they want the aluminum bats back?
No, well, the players are very excited about the bats. They're looking forward to it, and so we've had absolutely no resistance from the players at all. They're welcoming it, and our big hitter Colin Ring said he wants it. You know, so he knows it's going to affect his numbers, but he wants the challenge, and I think that's the case with all these guys. They're all elite athletes, and they like the challenge. They want to step up and see what they can do.
You always like to have that starting five. What kind of a mix are we going to have with right-handers, left-handers for the Alpines this year?
Well, we will have a mix. I mean, the lineup isn't set yet, and it'll change from time to time because we have guys with work commitments and so on, and I expect that Mr. Ring will be in slot number 4. And teams are allowed one import this year, and it appears that we are going to be blessed with an import. I haven't talked to the chap, but he's going to school with Tommy Van Wart in the States, and they are en route as we speak. His name is Micah Pennies. He's an outfielder catcher, and we're looking forward to meeting him and see what he can do.
Absolutely. Any concerns heading into the season, Terry? Any financially or whatever the case might be, or in the lineups, or anything that worries you or that you have to work on a little extra hard?
Well, again, the player numbers with a lot of the guys now are working, and we have to make sure that we've got a good competitive team every day. And of course, if somebody wanted to step in and make us a large donation, we would we would gratefully accept that. But no, we're in good shape going into the season, and looking forward to getting going this weekend.
Getting a clubhouse over at Memorial Field has always been a concern. I know that you just said a couple moments ago the sprinkler system has been added, and that's going to be a great addition to the ballpark. But what about the clubhouse? Is there any movement on that, or?
Not yet. The city finances being the way they are, realistically, I think the clubhouse is a bit down the road. But last year, of course, we had the addition of the electronic scoreboard, which was a wonderful gift, and in memory of Dave Ring. And this year, some field improvements, and we'll take it bit by bit.
Sure.
Part of the reason for the upgrades, no doubt, is the big softball tournament that's over there this summer, and that's great. We'll take all comers.
Sure. You look at the schedule. You guys start off on the road. You have 3 games on the road to start off the season.
First 3 games are on the road. We start with a doubleheader Saturday night, and that's a little different. Usually we try to get in a couple of single games before we get into the doubleheaders. But we start in Chatham Saturday night, and followed up on the Wednesday a game in Fredericton, and then we open at home next Thursday against Moncton.
I know it's always hard to predict, but how do you see the league breaking down when it comes to the final standings?
I would say that we will be in the top 3 for sure. It's a 6-team league this year. It's an unbalanced schedule, but based on what's shaken out here, I would expect that we'll be in the top 2 or 3.
Mike Skidder's being the man on the bench again this year. Skidder's just done an absolutely unbelievable job over the past. How long has he been on the bench now?
Forever.
For good number.
Yeah.
But Skidder is back again this year, and obviously he has a good combination of when he has to be the authority figure he can be, but he gets along well with the players, and that's such a great mix to have.
He has earned the respect of the players, and that is a big thing in coaching adults. I mean, you have to be as much of a psychologist as a coach.
Sure.
But the players very clearly accept him. They like him. They see him as a peer, but they also look up to him. So it's a good mix.
What do you think about the new bats? Wooden bats?
Well, I'm looking forward to it myself. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to get in there and take any cuts, but it's going to be the return to a more traditional game. We're going to single games will be 9 innings. We're using wooden bats. The domination will switch from the hitters back to the pitchers,
Sure.
and lots of times with the aluminum bat, if a hitter isn't a particularly good hitter, they may be able to stick the bat out and get a little blooper to the outfield and maybe knock in a run. So we're hoping that some of these high-scoring games will be history with the use of the wooden bats, because there will be a lot of players that will have a tough job, certainly in the early going, to use the wooden bats.
Absolutely. What do you need for crowds over there? Like, what are you looking for heading into the season? What's a good number to throw out there right now?
Well, we'd love to have a couple hundred people for every game. That doesn't sound like a lot of people, but a couple hundred people a game gives us a good base. We hope that a lot of those people come back, and it gives us a good base to pay our bills, because it costs us in the run of $300 to put on a game, and the cost of the field, the cost of the umpires, and miscellaneous expenses like balls and so on. So we need to clear or need to take in $300 or $400 a game.
And of course, the weather always plays just a huge factor trying to reschedule games that have been canceled, and of course the boys' work schedules. You got to get around that as well.
Well, not only that, but Memorial Field is used by about 5 or 6 teams, and everybody cooperates very well in terms of trading off dates and what have you. But the reality is that the field is in use 7 days a week, and that is a situation that does not exist in the other centers, and they sometimes get frustrated with us because we can't slot a game in when we want. But between 2 junior teams, a senior team, a midget team, and a couple of intermediate teams, that's a busy spot.
To someone who might be sitting home tonight thinking, well, I might get over and check out a couple of games, promotion has become such a big part of sports, whether it be baseball, hockey, or football, whatever the case might be. What are some of the promotions that some of the fans can look forward to this year?
Well, we're trying to put we have a few things on the go right now. Nothing firmed up, so I can't state with certainty what's happening there. One of the things that we are doing in cooperation with the Junior Alpines is we have a season pass that we're only charging $25 for, and that gets people into any home game for the Junior Alpines or the Senior Alpines, any regular season home game. So for the real diehard fans, that works out to about $1 a game. So that's a heck of a deal right there. Yeah. Those are available by calling myself or Kevin Ferguson of the O'Leary's Junior Alpines. And so that's one thing that we're doing. And again, going back to what you've got in your hand, I think that's going to make a difference. I've talked to people that want to come out and see the games, and it'll be interesting.
No question. Is the league moving in the right direction? Like you said, you're bringing in the wooden bats this year, the one import now on each team. Are we making strides in the right direction to maybe get those crowds built up a little bit more?
Well, that's our objective, or that's one of our objectives. We've worked very hard over the last few weeks to improve our relations with the media in terms of making sure people are informed and getting things like schedules and that sort of thing. We have done some work as a league in terms of sponsorship. We have TNR Sports, of course, in the Miramichi is the league sponsor, and Harvey's are going to be printing our league schedules, and that's a little thing, but people, particularly the dedicated fans, like to have a schedule they can stick in their wallet and check it.
Absolutely.
So through the largesse of Harvey's, we've been able to do that, and that's a nice step in the right direction. And we're going to be doing some other small things. We're taking some small steps this year and maybe a few more steps next year. And also the All-Star game will be held in Fredericton this year against the Nova Scotia All-Star team. And they are going to make that quite an event by having a reunion of some of the former Fredericton Royals players. And that in itself will be a good, fun family event. And we're trying to stress the family orientation and taking small steps. It is, everybody's in a volunteer operation. And we don't have any high-priced help to go out and put together a lot of these things, so we do what we can when we can. But the mindset of all the teams seems to be much more cooperative than it has been.
But you always look forward. I mean, there's always those two teams in the league. When you flip over to hockey, when it was the Flames and the Canadians in Fredericton, now you've got St. John and Fredericton on the baseball diamond. So you always expect that rivalry, and I mean, it's not that far of a drive up the highway now.
No, it isn't. And because of our unbalanced schedule this year, we play those guys 8 times. So I'm sure there'll be a few words spoken in anger over the season. But that's good. We've got they have a good crew up there off the field, and certainly a very strong team on the field. So we're looking forward to that rivalry, and it's been good, and we get a chance at them 8 times this year, as I say.
For sure. Are you happy with the schedule, the way it broke down for you guys, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a compromise, and we don't have any major complaints, and we certainly had an opportunity to make some changes. The first draft came out, and it got changed a little bit, but our probably biggest concern, and we can't do anything about it, is geography. We end up playing a lot of weekend doubleheaders. It's tough on the guys because they're gone 12 to 15 hours to go play a couple of ball games.
Exactly.
And on the home front, weekends are tough draws. But again, because of our geography, that's what we have to do. Moncton, on the other hand, for example, plays 2 doubleheaders.
Wow.
And that's all. And whereas we play half a dozen.
Is that all right? Wow. But like you said, this is a busier ballpark than Kiwanis might be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Terry, we wish you all the best.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming in. I'd like to keep this bat, but I have to give it back home. So make sure you get over and catch some ball games. The home
opener is Thursday the 25th against the newly named Moncton Mets.
We look forward to that, and we hope you get over to the ballpark. Hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate as well. Terry, anytime, you're always welcome back, and we thank you for tuning in. And we'll be back next Monday for the holiday Victoria Monday at 7 o'clock. We're here on TVNB. Hope to see you then.